Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, depending on which part of the world you're seeing my videos from. Welcome to Enuani, a cultural forum where we promote the rich cultural heritage of the Igbo people. Today, the 10th day of March 2026, is my birthday, and once again, I want to use this opportunity to thank every single person who has reached out to me. The messages on all social media platforms, the videos, the posts celebrating me. I am overwhelmed. I cannot thank every one of you enough, and I cannot mention everyone at the same time. So many posts from all corners, from Igbo, Zwedi, Ochikori, Igbo, one of Africa, the convener of Ndenasobia Socio-Cultural Organization, from my friend and brother, Almighty, from my dear sister who recently just joined us, Adi Igbo, Ada Anyoma, Ada Anyocha 101. Thank you. To my brother Christopher Shedu Belushi, to my brother the Eye of a Banker. I don't know where to start from. And my brother, I told you all in the morning when I was doing my live stream, is the biggest supporter of this platform financially. MC Ndon, my brother Ezumike, thank you so much. I really appreciate you for your kindness, for your patience, because sometimes he will send a message to me on my WhatsApp business line to take maybe 2 days before I will even get to see them. I'm going to have to give him my private line because he's now a very intimate member of this family. I want to thank every one of you. Today we are looking at the Igbo way of life. Why are Ndi Igbo considered the most socially organized group of people? What is the reason behind it? Even in Igbo communities where they had no kings, not like they have no Eze, they had no overarching ruler. The type of leadership system was decentralized in the sense that there's no one figure that without him the community will fall apart. And once you succeed in conquering him, you have conquered the community. The Igbo people are very democratic. What is the basis of that particular social structure? What is the foundation for it? Now you have to know first that the Igbo people regard everyone as important. They are very democratic. As an Igbo boy, myself, before I became a man, before I passed through any rite of passage into manhood, there was an organization where I belonged. We are called Ikolo Nzizezi. That is the youths who take care of the environment. We were trained up as environmentalists. Our work is to ensure that our village Ilo and Obe is clean. In fact, we make boast of which quarter or which lineage has the cleanest Ilo. By Ilo, I mean the road, the street road, and the village square. It is our duty as Ikolo Nzizezi to ensure that these areas are clean and everyone is compelled to participate. Those who fail to participate will have a disciplinary measure for them. This way, beginning from the age of 10 or thereabout, you are already taught as an Igbo man to be responsible, to take responsibility for your environment. And this is our jurisdiction. It has nothing to do with the elders. It is our duty to do this until we graduate into another stage, and then another stage, and then another stage. This graduation doesn't end even when you become a man. When you become a man, you are now considered okay, or okay, as the community's dialect may be. If by you are now considered a man. Remember, somebody can even be 65, 66, 67, 68, 69, and has not entered this stage of manhood, the last stage. Ikeani. So the Igbo traditional political system is so well organized and structured that you are given minor responsibilities from a young age. You now grow into the process and it becomes a part of you. This way, you develop interest in the community, you develop a sense of responsibility, and you develop what is called respect. What this gives mainly is a sense of belonging. If you are an Igbo man, there's a strata, there's an Otuobo, there's an Ebiri, depending on how you call it, that you belong to. So if you belong to a certain age bracket, there's a responsibility for you. Even if you are female, if you belong to a certain age bracket, there's a responsibility for you until you reach age one. Even when you reach age one, there's still a group for you to join. This is the Igbo way of life. When you see Igbo people organizing themselves socially like this, whether in Ghana, whether in London, whether in America, anywhere you see them, it is not to show off. I recently read a post by our brother, somebody I respect so much. I have a lot of respect for him. This will not even make me lose respect for him. I just feel I need to correct some things that he said. So I went on his platform and made some corrections. I'm talking about Ugezu, the movie director. He was talking about Igbo funerals. Like, how did we get to the point where mmadụ nwụọ na Igbo werezi ya na-eme ite ego na-ememezi show off na-eme ihe dịka celebration mgbe e kwesịrị ịga na-eme akwamozu? That this is not Igbo culture. I had to step in. In Igbo culture, mmadụ nwụọ n'oge na-erughị eru. When a person dies young, we mourn the person. In fact, in my community of Ubuluku and most other communities in Enuani, nobody older than that person who is deceased attends the funeral. The funeral is meant for people who are younger than the deceased. Nobody older than a deceased person eats food, drinks water, or participates in the funeral. Mada anaghị enyi onye ọ tọrọ atọ. Mada de akwa onye ọdịa. The funeral is for people younger. If this person died very young, they are buried close to the road so that they don't return again, so that they don't reincarnate. That is how we do akwamozu. But when a man grows to a ripe old age, in fact, we cannot conduct that funeral without killing a male cow. We demand a cow, traditionally, not a modern culture. My grandfather, Owodi, was buried with a cow. My grandfather, Owodi, was buried with a cow. It is Igbo culture. We celebrate the life of people who have lived to old age. It is not a modern practice, and we did not borrow it from the Yorubas. No, we celebrate life when that person has lived to a ripe old age. We don't bury them anyhow. We don't even cry when we are burying them, unless a mock cry. So, I had to go to the page of our brother Ugezu to correct that. And I'm sure the correction was noted. So in Igbo culture, we are socially very organized. Socially very organized. There's a structure for everything. There's a structure for palm wine tapas. There's a structure for wrestlers. Or Kamba. There's a structure for herbal medicine practitioners. There's a structure for crafts, depending on the craft that you are into. So when you see Igbo in UK organizing themselves together, it is not to show off. And usually, when you see them organizing themselves that way, they are not only people from Umbise, They are not only people from Isukwato. They are not only people from Okigwe. It is Igbo people from all the communities that ndị na-asụ bịa, ndị kwetara na ha bụ ndị Igbo, are the people who usually participate in such cultural practices. And when they do so, it is because this is a way of life they were used to in their communities, and then they took it to a foreign land. When they also nominate somebody to act as Eze in their midst, they are not trying to dethrone the Eze of their host country or host community. It is because as Igbo people, we need to be organized and we need to have a sense of direction, of leadership. Mind you, that person called Eze is not the sole decision taker. If it is an Igbo group, when there's decision to be made, they will still consult among themselves. Let me give you an instance. Let me say I have a land dispute with somebody and I wish to clarify it, and I report this to the elders of my community. The first thing they will do is to convene a meeting, inviting me and the person with whom I have land disputes with. After our deliberations, they will summon a team of maybe 5, 6, 7 people to go outside and debate and carry out investigations, then come up with a recommendation of the judgment they will give out. What I'm telling you is not something we learned from the white man. This jury system of government that you see the Americans practice, it is a non-Igbo culture and a dume. These 5, 6 men will carry out investigation and come up with a recommendation which the leadership of the community will be mandated or instructed or told to implement. They will deliberate it further and implement it. If the matter is so obviously against me, for instance, I bring a matter that after the discussions, it is obvious to me and to everyone that I am wrong, I may be asked to go on this particular ume for myself. They will say, go and reason by yourself and come up with the recommendation of the punishment they should give you. You see how very well organized the Igbo people are? This way, nobody can pervert justice. No one king can say, I, being the king of this community, sitting on the throne of my ancestors, I thereby decree that Mr. A is no longer this, Mrs. B is no longer that, or Mrs. A should be executed. No. In the Igbo traditional political setup, there's a room for democracy. In fact, you need to see these men that I talked about deliberating. When they are deliberating, the white man called it organized anarchy, because though they look like they are quarreling, but they are trying to arrive at a conclusion, the one they call you disagree to agree. If you see them disagreeing vigorously, you will understand that it is a form of anarchy, but organized anarchy. So this is one of the ways Igbo organize themselves socially. That way, we were not conquered by anyone. That way, it was difficult. It was difficult for the colonialists to penetrate Igbo. So they used all kinds of methods, even later employing war against us. They needed means to disorganize us because we were so complex and organized. Let me give you an instance. The elders of the community can decide on a matter, and the youth wing says, no, we don't agree with this thing. It is against our interests. They will be given fair hearing in the community. But in some places where they have an overarching ruler, once the king has ruled, finish, nobody talks. Everybody says yes and goes home. But in the Igbo traditional political setup, you have the right to even disagree, to argue your point. I will give you an instance, a very good instance, a very viable instance. During festivals in Western Igbo land, There's a festival we call Ine Festival. Thank you so much, Chizzy. You said happy birthday. Truly, today is my birthday, and I thank everyone who has reached out to me so far. So, during our Ine festivals, as long as you are an indigene of the community, you have the democratic right to call out anybody, including the king of the community, and call out his wrongs, even the ones that are allegedly. Only after saying it, you will say, I heard with my ears, I didn't see with my eyes. But you have that democratic right. This democratic right does not exist in communities where you will see other kings bowing before another king. And that was what Igwe Agubuzo of Olo Kingdom stood up to say, no, we cannot do. We cannot be meshed into a southern traditional rulers forum where we will be answerable to the Oni of Ife. No, that is not how to organize Igbo. Igbo are very democratic people. Treat them separately. That was what the man advocated for. Please, if you're just joining us, this is Enuani, a cultural forum, and today is my birthday. So I had made an earlier live stream in the morning, and I'm doing another one this evening to appreciate everybody who participated in the birthday. Everybody who has reached out to me, posted messages for me, sent me financial supports. I want to use this opportunity. I have thanked my brother MC Ndones Romike, who consistently has been a source of moral and financial support to this platform. I know he may be watching this video as well. Thank you so much. I appreciate you. And my brother, Cyril Ibiki, I cannot thank you enough, because last year when I was arrested by the fools I talked about in the morning, arrested me, trumped up allegations against me that I am insulting the king of my community, and the man came out to say he has no problem with me, and that I did not insult him, and that he did not instruct anybody to act on his behalf. And then I was released. When I was released, it was Cyril Ibiki that reached out to me and got me a new mobile device. So I want to use this opportunity once again to thank him. He's from my hometown. Now, I don't want to dwell on that because I did a very elaborate video in the morning. The Igbo way of life is so well structured that even children who are less than 5 years old have a sense of belonging. They have a role to play in the structure of the community. When I was less than 10, I used to go to my mother's community. My mother is from Ogwashuku, my father is from Ubuluku. In my mother's community and her particular family, there's a way they pay NEPA bill by going to what we call Ofiaku. Then when we used to have electricity supply, not now that Nigeria has crashed. Back then, there was electricity. If there will not be electricity tomorrow, there will be a news broadcast on radio that there will not be light tomorrow. People will know that there will not be light tomorrow. Now, it is when NEPA likes that they bring light. When they like, they take it at will. Nobody questions them. So that is why I'm wondering if military regime is better than this useless democracy we are practicing that we don't know anything about. In that time of military regime, because I remember clearly it was military, before they will interrupt the electricity tomorrow, you will hear it in the news from yesterday. For 2 days, that there will not be light next tomorrow, they will announce it. Everybody will know. That is the Nigeria I grew up as a child to know. So that time, how we pay electricity bill was that the older members of the family will go for Ofiaku. They will be cutting down palm fruits. Our work as little children was to pick the fruits, carry it in a bag and go to the general dump where everything will be kept. When they sell it, they will use the money to pay NEPA bill. So as a child, you are given a responsibility. You are contributing to the family upkeep and well-being. Not this one they will say child labor. You are laboring the child. No, you're not laboring the child. In Igbo culture, a child is taught responsibility. Let me give you another instance of responsibility. Every Eke market day, we had a refrigerator in our house. Most people didn't. What we call pure water now was ice water. That's what we call it, not pure water. Because we put water in the freezer, make it cold, and then go and sell in the market. By the time we have sold our water, we will do thrift. It is the Igbo people that invented the banking system that you're seeing in the world today. I don't know how to elaborate on it. Perhaps I will do further research and do an elaborate video to tell you about the Igbo banking system that I grew up to know, not the modern bank. You contribute money every Eke market day. Let me say you are contributing 1 naira that time. Every Eke market day, you contribute 1 naira. Every Eke market day, you contribute 1 naira. On Christmas Day, not before Christmas, by December, maybe first week of December, they will have shared the money from the safe and you get your share. You can now use it to either buy Christmas clothes or pay for exam or do anything at all that you want to commit huge money to as a child, as a 5, 6, 7-year-old, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 child. Not these grown-ups that cannot save 1 naira. Not these grown-ups that are stranded, that are running back to their parents' house after graduating from the university. After graduating from the university, modern children run back to their parents' house. Back then, if you graduate from the university, they will kick you out as one of the people who will alleviate poverty from that Igbo family. Some people don't even get the opportunity to go to the university. You will be sent to go and do one boy or one girl, because we don't even talk about the one girl enough. People do one girl, they learn tailoring, seamstress, baking, hair making, anything you can think of that women do. They also get settled and they start up their own businesses. Some of them don't get settled early. They stay with their madam for a long time to raise money and then open their own businesses. The Igbo people are so structurally organized that the economy is taken care of. From childhood, a boy that knows how to save up money, that towards the end of the year, he will use it to commit to the purposes, to the things that his heart desires. How do you think such a child will become an adult and fail? It is difficult. So, what you see in Igbo, if you are not Igbo, is not a mistake. It is deliberate parenting. Deliberate parenting. During Christmas, some people join Mau, some do Olobo, some do Aja. These are different classes of groups of entertainment that you can be part of. By the time you people share your money after the celebration, you have money to pay for exam in January. I'm saying this as somebody who probably lost his mother at a young age. But I know even people who have both parents were doing the same thing. So, the Igbo way of life is so organized that from childhood, a child is taught to be responsible. A child is already made responsible, already brought into the society, that is the fold. He doesn't feel like an outsider. A child is given a sense of belonging, very strong sense of belonging. That is the Igbo way of life. It is not being braggadocious. It is not being proud. When you see them in cities today, coming together to make any kind of celebration, and you think they are showing off, it is not show off. It is what Otuobo does even in the village. Let me give you another instance so that you understand. Assuming I want to get married and the year is 1995. There are people in the community who will contribute drink that I will add to the ones I can buy. We will go and show our in-laws that I came from a family that is organized. From a lineage that is organized, not even family. Family makes it look small. Entire lineage. They'll contribute drinks, money, gifts, and join me to go and marry my wife so that she will know I am from a lineage where there are men. This is not, it's not this modern age, oh. I'm talking about how it used to be. And I am a young boy. Imagine what my father will say about his own time. In my own lineage, we call it Ogodi no ordinary no. Like when you are treated with respect and pride at home, you have that respect and pride outside. So then make sure that from home everything is first of all very organized. I can go on and on and on and on and on to prove that the Igbo cultural practice teaches children, teaches men and women how to be responsible. Please, if you're just joining us, one of the things I usually encourage my friends and followers to do is to please give this video thumbs up. Help it to rank better on the algorithm. Okay? And thank you everyone for your birthday wishes. I just needed to do this live stream to thank everyone who has, in one way or the other in the past year, kept me going. Because it was a very challenging year. No matter how long I live, I can be 100, 200, 150, 80, depending on how many years God has destined that I will live. But I will never forget this my particular age, because I faced challenges. It was a gang up against me from people who probably needed to bury my voice, and they got me arrested and took me very far to a place I didn't think I would come back from. But God brought me back. And you people also showed me very massive support. They are still doing so today. If I go online and see the number of people sharing my videos and my pictures to say happy birthday, it didn't even make me emotional. Okay? And that was also what got to me when I was in Abuja. When people that I didn't know were sending money to say, grant him bail, if it's money that is keeping him there. People that I have not even met before. So Ndi Igbo have a sense of community. That is what I'm driving at in the end. We live with a sense of community. We are not individualistic people. Let us not become that. We must learn to continue to be community-minded. Ofu osisi a na-eme ọfịa, ka osisi abụne na akwaka akwa osisi, ofu osisi ka ọ bụ. It can never be a forest. One tree, no matter how gigantic it is, can never be a forest. And those you want to let us not sell out our brother. Let us learn to support our people. Let us learn to support our own first. One of our sisters recently went viral for posting videos of Igbo billionaires sharing cars to people from outside Igbo land. Yes, I know they will have their excuses that they made their wealth in Lagos. Lagos built them, they grew, they made their fortune in Lagos. Why would they not spend it in Lagos? But it is instructive to know that no kegusi efununu madesi no. You cannot be beautiful outside and rotten inside. Whatever you do outside, be certain. Make sure if you did not, go and do remembrance for him with Efi. Oh no, kegusi efununu madesi no. Thank you so much, my Igbo brothers and sisters, and some of the people who have expressed interest in what I'm doing, who are not even my Igbo brothers. So when I say this, my Igbo brothers and sisters, I am also referring to people who are not Igbo. You know, there are people who grew up in Igbo land. They were born and brought up in Igbo land. They have been assimilated into Igbo culture. They are originally Yoruba. Some of them are originally Hausa. If you hear them speaking Igbo, I'm sure I've shared videos like that here on my platform. If you hear them speaking Igbo, I hear some people that are so-called Igbos who were brought up in Lagos. Lagos. See Hausa people, Yoruba people who live in Igbo land, Enugu, Onitsha, Owerri, especially Enugu and Owerri. Onye Hausa nwere ike ichega ọgụ n'Owerri. You will not know that it's Onye Hausa. You will think it's Igbo man. Maka otu o si wee na-apịa Igbo ya. If you jam them in Obinze or Ama Hausa, they even have places named about them. Ama Hausa in Douglas Road. Ndị Hausa amụchala asụsụ Igbo na-asụzi ya ama. Mana ndị kpọ onwe ha ndị Igbo na ha na-asụzi Bekee. Ọtụtụ n'ime ha na-asụkwa Yoruba. Mana ama ha otu esi asụ asụsụ Igbo nke ọma. Biko ọ na egwu nne ka ọ bụ nna n'ebe a na-ahụ ihe onyonyo a. Biko kuziele ụmụ gị asụsụ Igbo. Na asụsụ Igbo amaka. Thank you so much everyone for your tremendous support. Now I have 32 people watching this video, but I have just 4 likes. Today is my birthday and I'm making a request of you to please double tap on this video to give it thumbs up. Let it get to 10 at least. Let me see 10 thumbs ups. Please double tap on this video to give it a thumbs up. It has just 4. Double tap, double tap, double tap, double tap, double tap. Double tap on the video to give it thumbs up, please. Let me share it to my friends on other social media platforms. Thank you everyone. Please double tap on the video to give it thumbs up. Welcome back. I just took that time to share the video to my other social media platforms. Please double tap on this video to give it thumbs up. We have 8 people who have double tapped. We need to get to 10, then we can think of 20. If you're just joining us, this is Enuani Cultural Forum, where we promote the rich cultural heritage of the Igbo people, and today we are looking at the Igbo way of life. Why are the Igbo people so structurally organized? The Igbo traditional political system is so well structured that even children who are pre-teen, who are not even teenagers, have a class of the society they belong to, and they have a sense of belonging. That is the Igbo way of life. The Igbo way of life is so structured that these young children, who are not even men already, have a say in how the community is administered. They have a voice, because some people have been practicing democracy before this word democracy was ever mentioned. It is our system of practice that everybody is given a sense of belonging, and it is enshrined in our proverb that says, Ebe belu, ugo belu. If the eagle perches, the eagle should also allow the kite to perch. No one should disallow the other from perching. Where the eagle has perched, the kite should also perch. So you see, the Igbo way of life allows room for participatory government and leadership. That is why when you see the Igbo distancing themselves from dictatorship, they are not mad. They are simply following tradition. The Igbo people are very democratic. Even before the word democracy came, I was studying a pattern lately. Look at all the Igbo states. There is no one Igbo state where you say, this is the son of the governor, who is also having a cartel of leaders that he's trying to impose or show that he's the son of the governor. Is it Francis Wifuru's son that you have seen? Is it Solido's son or Zonna that constantly even opposes what the father takes as decision? Is it Hope Uzodinma's son, or does he not have a grown-up son? Whose son have you seen in Igbo land? Is it Mba's son, Governor Peter Mba? Whose son in Igbo land have you seen? Or is it the governor of Abia State? Okay, is it Mazo's son? I've not seen any son of an Igbo governor coming out to lord it over people. Move away from Igbo land and see the sons of governors claiming to be governor of the youths. So in Igbo land, they have this self-determination. That principle of let me carve a path for myself is a lifestyle of Igbo. That principle of my father has made it, let me also go and make it. It's a lifestyle, it's a pattern for Igbo. It is not a mistake. That principle that led Ikemba, Chukwuemeka Odumegwu Ojukwu, the son of a billionaire, to say, my father has made a name for himself. Okay, I'm not fine inheriting his estate. Let me also carve a path for myself. And he made his own name even bigger than his father's name. That is an Igbo man for you. That spirit that pushed people like Ken Sarowiwa to say, you are drilling crude and polluting Ogoni land. No, let that stop. And they said, bring his head and slaughter him. That is the Igbo spirit. That spirit of King Jaja of Opobo then too, before Ken Sarowiwa of Ogoni land. King Jaja of Opobo had stood to say, no, I cannot bow to you as a white man. When we met, we shook hands as equals. I cannot bow. That is the Igbo spirit. It has continued to evolve from one generation to another. You will say, oh, what about the people who go to do boy for this present failed administration of Ajibola Ahmed Tinubu? Look at how Igbo also joined hands together to mock them, to make public ridicule of them. The Igbo man is a man who believes in himself, first of all. And as Socrates put it, man know thyself and thy ways. You must first of all know yourself. An Igbo man is first of all self-confident in the fact that he has hands and legs to provide for himself. And he does not bow to the whims and caprices of anybody who calls himself a leader. Because in his bloodline, he was born into a democratic society. So any society that practices dictatorship is anti-Igbo. Anybody that also follows such people is considered an efulefu. Because Igbo are Democrats. By birth, they believe in equal rights for everybody. Or at least that people should be given a right to their free will. That is the Igbo way of life. And I thank you everyone who has been a part of this particular live stream, because I'm going to end it. Thank you for your support. If you are not yet a subscriber to the channel, please use this opportunity to subscribe, share our videos, engage with them so that our channel can come up and rank well on the algorithm. I look forward to seeing you in my subsequent videos, as I hope to be making videos more frequently to keep this channel coming up, because the viewership is very low, I must tell. So please share the videos massively as much as you can so that we can keep it alive. I'm already very tired. I've had a very long day. I'll see you next time, everyone. Bye.